Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
In a symbolic move for Tasmania, the Aboriginal flag has been raised at Government House in what will be a permanent installation. Governor Kate Warner says it's a lasting reminder, acknowledging Tasmania's dark past.
A symbolic action. The Aboriginal flag now side by side with Tasmania's flag at Government House in a show of reconciliation.
Raising the flag here is an acknowledgement that the policies of the government between 1824 and 1864 tolerated active killing, forced exile and permanent detention of the Aboriginal people.
I think that this will probably be part of a healing for our own community as much as the whole of the state.
Elders, including relatives of Fanny Cochrane-Smith, present to witness history unfold. Rodney Dillon among those community members, saying today is more than just a ceremony.
I think it's identification, and after 200 years the Governor acknowledging who we are and be willing to share the flag and our history with it. I think it's a great step.
While the focus is on the present, ancient customs also part of today's ceremony. Her Excellency acknowledging those ancient times and its people, as well as those keeping cultural practices alive today.
Who have survived invasion and dispossession, and yet who continue to maintain their identity, their culture and their Indigenous rights.
Despite the flag being raised at Tasmania's home of colonialism, today widely recognised as a step forward together.
These things are traditions that are not ours. You know, it's not for us to go poo-pooing everything. I think what we should be doing is working out how the two different sorts of traditions come together and we work together for a better future.
It is a public acknowledgement that we own this dark past.
I think she's done more as a Governor for Aboriginal issues than probably anyone else in the past.
Louise Hedger, 7 Tasmania News.
An entire Hobart city block could be in for a dramatic transformation, with new plans revealed to redevelop a prime waterfront site. It's a proposal that will include new cafes, shops and public spaces, but it could be years before the new Spirit Place is open for business.
The before and after of what could be a major transformation in the centre of Hobart.
It's one of the best sites, I think, in Australia. It's so close to the waterfront and it's just prime to be used far better than what it is at the moment.
This site is currently home to a tourist information centre, car parking and shops, but new plans could turn it into a new civic square called Spirit Place, complete with more cafes, accommodation and business.
It really is an enhancement project that we think that it will give a lot more back to the people of Hobart and also to the visitors that come here.
We've got good interest from bicycle shop owners, coffee shop owners and people wanting to open up tourist shops, so it's creating a lot of interest.
Improvements will be made to the entire city block. The site's current building set to remain, with the exception of the Mawson's Hut's replica museum.
Ours is a low-rise development, and that's what the council has specified in their expression of interest, and we're getting good support from the council as we move through this stage.
The design is the Hobart City Council's preferred proposal for the site, but if supported, construction is still years away. An expressions of interest process is now open for the public to have its say on the plan. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
In true seasonal style, it's been a damp start to the Huon Valley's annual celebration, the Midwinter Festival. For an update on how things are going at the event's new, bigger location, our reporter Michelle Wisby joins us now live. Michelle, how's that weather holding up?
Joe, it's been a wet day down here all day today, but it looked like the rain might be starting to clear up just in time for the opening of the festival. Record numbers are expected to flood through the gates here. The festival is now getting so big it's had to move to this location at the Ranelagh Recreation Grounds. Opening night tonight will be filled with music, food and celebrations. But the highlight of the evening is the iconic burning of the giant wooden sculpture Big Willie. In about an hour, the entire structure will go up in flames as a symbol against negative energy. Then across the weekend, festival goers can rug up and enjoy a midwinter banquet, a sculpture competition, and even a ceremony to scare away evil spirits. The festival does wrap up with a family day on Sunday, but Joe, judging by tonight, I would recommend people bring a warm jacket and maybe some gumboots if they're planning on heading along.
Gumboots and puffer jackets, good advice. Thank you very much for that. Michelle Wisby joining us there from the Huon. A rare bacterial disease, typically found only on Flinders Island, has for the first time spread to Tasmania's Midlands region. A new study has found of the 18 cases of Flinders Island spotted fever diagnosed over 5 years, 2 were on the state's mainland. The infection is transmitted through ticks found on reptiles. The public health officers warned symptoms can include fever, headaches, joint pain or a rash, but the illness is usually mild, saying the best way to avoid infection is using insect repellent or wearing protective. Hawthorn has had its final training run ahead of its clash with Fremantle at UTAS Stadium. All eyes will be on Tasmanian Grant Birchall, who is playing his first game in 2 years following a string of injuries. Chad Wingard has also been named in the side. The Hawks are on a high following their thrilling 4-point win over Collingwood last week. The game begins at 2:10 tomorrow. Visitors to Cradle Mountain received a frosty reception from Mother Nature today, with a blizzard closing most of the park. Many still made the most of the snow, while in Hobart a dusting on Mount Wellington saw plenty rugging up to explore.
Cradle closed. The interpretive centre was the first and final stop for tourists. With the mountain out of reach, they shivered in the blizzard but refused to be disappointed.
Oh no, not really. We've had a pretty good time. We've been around some of the nice walks and things out here and it's been really good.
Well, the bus driver says the park's closed, but that won't stop us, so we did a nice walk up a loop.
Not even a damp mood from hikers in soggy socks.
Well, they've been saturated for the past week, so I decided not to put them back on again.
The snowy day was still a moment to remember, as some took a short stroll while others ditched the ice for the fire, and that might be the place to stay, according to forecasters.
We are expecting snowfalls down to 600 metres for the remainder of Friday. Then on Saturday we are expecting further snowfalls down to 500 metres, and on Sunday once again down to 500 metres on Sunday evening.
Bushwalker and road alerts remain in place for central and western districts. As expected, road closures also stopped Hobartians getting to the top of their winter playground. Still, some sprung out of bed for the Springs.
I'm loving it. I haven't seen snow for ages, but
yeah, it's cold.
Oh my gosh, it's great. It's very cold though. That's the only problem.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
The Devils will be out to pull off an upset in its NAB League curtain raiser against the ladder-leading Eastern Rangers. Having a final hit out in the shadows of UTAS Stadium today, local star Jackson Callow will be looking to continue his good form after booting 18 goals in 10 games, while the return of Allies duo Mitch O'Neill and Jake Steele has come at the perfect time.
It's getting that stage of the year where they're probably tiring out a little bit. I think from a club and a coach point of view, we've just got to look at ways we can freshen the guys up and really attack the last month and a half of footy as best we can.
The match gets underway at 10:45. Glenorchy coach Paul Kennedy is confident his team's horror injury run is finally over, with more than 10 players expected to return to the squad this week. And it couldn't come at a better time, with the winner of tomorrow's match set to decide third place on the TSL ladder.
The Magpies were thumped by the Northern Bombers last week, but a far different side is set to emerge against Launceston at KG5.
We could potentially get 13 back across the two teams this week, which would be nice. And it was nice on Tuesday to have, 40 blokes out on the track.
Among those is ball magnet Jay Bowden, who missed last week with ankle soreness.
I think the rest has done him good. He's got a bit of a bounce back in his step and mentally and physically.
Launceston coach Mitch Thorpe says he expects a strong contest.
We're prepared for that and we welcome that. I mean, we want to be a side that can play against the best opposition at any venue in Tassie, and to be the best side you need to be able to combat that and still win.
Meanwhile, Kingborough will face a tough task against the second-placed North, urging his squad to play free-flowing footy in front of a home crowd.
No one expects us to win on the weekend, or a lot of people probably don't expect us to be competitive and get within a bull's roar of them. So, we've got nothing to lose.
He's hoping wet, windy weather will level the contest in the midfield.
Matthews, Lovell, Clifford as well, going up against those guys is a battle worth watching. It's probably going to be pretty tough and contested, which is probably what we're looking forward to. We think that's where we can try to match them.
We expect that when we go down to Hobart. It's beautiful and sunny up here today, 23 degrees. So, no, I mean, realistically, it's probably not going to play a massive part in the game. We'll play whoever, wherever, it doesn't really matter.
Andrew McCarthy, 7 Tasmania News.
Another coach has left the Launceston Tornadoes, with Derek Washington parting ways with the club. Although it's being called a mutual decision, Washington has no other coaching job to go to and won't see out the remaining games this year. He built a reputation as the affable American media darling.
Gotta go Ali Wilson, that's my dog.
Little Golden State Warrior style, you know, up and down, shoot the ball.
But the usually upbeat Washington had only a glimpse of his trademark flair today, as news of his shock exit was made public.
The memory will be the Nottawaden game, going to the champ, because we made history. And I'm always about making history, so I feel like I did my job.
It follows an injury-plagued season, producing just 3 wins from 17 games. Washington and the club say the decision to part ways is mutual. Would he have been here next year if he wanted to be?
So for Derek, the reason why he came here was to have that experience as being a head coach. We've provided that great platform.
Washington's the latest to spin out of a coaching cyclone at the Tawns. Reece Potter, Ben Rush, Richard Dickel and Washington have all held the top job since 2016. Assistant Michael Johnson will see out the remaining 3 games.
We know in Derek it's once a Tawn, always a Tawn.
And delivering the news to his young players left him torn.
They don't want this to happen. Nobody wants their head coach to leave, but they know my goals. I mean, I'm all about my players achieving their goals.
Washington will return to the United States next week in search of another club to coach. Olympia will be eyeing off top spot on the NPL ladder when it meets Glenorchy on home soil later tonight. The Warriors remain 2 points adrift of Devonport, who play Launceston tomorrow.
We know that we need to perform better if we're going to get results over the next few weeks. So, yeah, tough game tonight against Knights.
Meanwhile, Glenorchy has plenty to play for after dropping its last 5 matches.
You've got to be careful of a handful of their players who are capable of controlling a match and hurting you at any stage. So, yeah, I think defensively tonight is going to be really important for us.
In other games, Clarence takes on Kingborough, while South Hobart plays Zebras on Sunday.
Good evening. Below average temperatures today as a pool of cold air made it over the state. Just 9 in Hobart and 11 for the northern centres. 13 the high at a number of spots, including Flinders Island, St Helens and Friendly Beaches. King Island 12, along with Smithton and Low Head. Strawn 10, Grosvenor 9, while Lyawini had an overnight low of 0, but it did climb all the way up to 1. Low-level convective cloud and a few bright thunderstorm clouds quickly passed through the state today. Now a cold pool of air, as we mentioned, is over our region and the Bight. A jet stream has produced wispy-like cloud over southern and western Australia. Onshore trade winds has low cloud over northern Queensland. Tomorrow a strong cold front extends from down New South Wales way and out over the Tasman Sea. The large slow-moving high has staked its claim over the mainland. West to south westerlies at 20 to 30 knots, reaching 35 knots at times over the north and east. Swells to 6 metres in western waters. A few things to warn you about. A gale warning from Low Rocky Point to Tasman Island, a strong wind warning for remaining waters, a small craft wind alert for the lakes. Also a minor flood warning for the north and south-esk rivers, Meander and Macquarie as well, a flood watch for the Derwent and Forth catchments, and a road weather alert warning of snow on elevated roads, and a warning to sheep graziers for the south-east and parts of King Island and the Furneaux group. And finally a bushwalkers alert for the western and central plateau. Saturday in Hobart, 9 degrees and showery, just 6 for Maydena, -1 overnight for Oatlands, a shower or 2 and 7 later. 12 for Launceston after a morning frost, 11 for Devonport and partly cloudy, -3 for Lyawini and once again expecting a top of 1. For Burnie tomorrow, 11 the high, a showery windy day, showers for Strawn on 9 degrees and 10 for Marrawar, and for St Helens, mostly sunny and 12, 11 for Swansea, showers for Orford though a bit further south and 10 degrees. On Sunday, showers extending to most areas with possible thunderstorms and hail over the west, snow to 500 metres, showers on Monday contracting to the west and south during the morning, and on Tuesday fine over the central north and east but a few showers for the west and south. Further north tomorrow, and sunny 19 degrees forecast for Perth, showers over Adelaide and Melbourne, just 11 in Melbourne tomorrow, a cool windy day in Sydney, sunny and 24 in Brisbane. Partly cloudy and cooling down in Hobart, 6 at the moment, 7 in Launceston, mostly cloudy in Devonport and 8 degrees. Looks like an inclement weather for the weekend, Joe, but there is a beautiful spot of fine weather for the game tomorrow between the Hawks and the Fremantle Dockers.
Wonderful news. Thank you very much for that, Merv. And that's all from the team for tonight. Thanks so much for your company. We will, of course, see you throughout the evening with our updates. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.